All right, we got to talk about that debate. It was fine. Um, JD Vance uh, is a politician. He did a little bit better um, pretending to not be a psychopath, which is good for him. That's really what his campaign needed him to do, was come off like a human being, and he managed to more or less do that last night. Probably didn't really pull any independent voters. I don't know that there's any undecided left at this point. JD Vance doesn't matter. I want to talk about Tim Walz a little bit. And by extension, I want to talk about Kamala and the whole apparatus. It's really obvious that Kamala is running really, really hard to the middle, to the center, which we knew that she was going to do. I can't help but feel like if there was a true progressive campaign, it would be a 50-state sweep. The idea of Kamala, when she first came on the scene, when she first got the nomination after Biden dropped out, the excitement around her campaign was a misguided hope that she would be really progressive, or at least marginally more progressive than Biden. And I think that that's probably still true. I think that she is going to be to the left of Biden. It would be hard not to. What she is not is the progressive candidate that we want and that we need. And I think, I mean, most, if not all of us, knew that this whole time. But it's becoming increasingly obvious as we get closer to the election, and she really runs so hard to the center. A lot of what Walz said last night, there were so many opportunities for him to score major points with progressive coalitions. He just barely touched on the commodification of housing. If he'd really talked about that, if he'd really talked about housing being a basic human right, he could have so easily pivoted into that. But I'm sure that the campaign does not believe that, as part of its platform. So he can't say that. He talked a little bit about healthcare and Medicare for all should have been a thing. It should be a major plank of this campaign, is Medicare for all. There are so many missed opportunities to generate real excitement and real support among progressives. And the campaign is so afraid of alienating the middle that they will not chase the left. And it has been that way among the Democrats for so long. You cannot continue to pander to them at the expense of the left. So, Tim Walz. I believe that the real Tim Walz is more progressive than what we saw last night. I think that he does believe in Medicare for all. I believe that he believes housing is a human right. I believe that he is a progressive at heart. But he is part of a campaign that is trying to run to the middle. And it neuters the message. And the worst part of all of this is the absolute spineless deference to Israel in every facet. The refusal to condemn Israeli terror is so glaring. It is so glaring. I understand why they do it. but it's horrible. It's horrible. The constant capitulation to every tantrum that Israel throws, the the constant military aid, the bombs that we buy them to kill civilians, it it does not play with a progressive demographic that they have to have. They have to have progressives, and they take it for granted that progressives will show up to vote against Trump. And I think they're right, but it cannot be taken for granted that hardline leftists will show up and vote for a milquetoast centrist Democrat just to keep Trump out of office. The lesser of two evils voting, how long do you expect it to work? I don't know. I'm still going to vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. I'm just I'm not disillusioned because I don't think I was illusioned, but there were moments in the campaign in these past 2 months that looked like there could be real progressive change, real progressive ideology behind this campaign. And the messaging now is, it reminds me of when Kamala made that address to immigrants when she said, "Do not come, do not come." Just they're signaling to centrists and undecided voters at the expense of the left. They continue to do so. I hope it works out for them. I just wish we had a real progressive candidate who would run on a real progressive platform. I don't care to adjudicate the actual debate that happened last night. It was pointless. No one's going to have their mind changed by it, except there are going to be leftists who watch it and are once again disappointed by a candidate who should espouse leftist ideals, progressive ideals, and continues to take the ball and run toward the middle and kowtow to Israel and backtrack on Medicare for all and refuse to fight for housing in any meaningful way or oppose the system as we have it now. They're just establishment Democrats, and they're going to do establishment Democrat things. And I wish that it were not so. So, that said, don't want to adjudicate last night's debate. I want to talk about a few of the things, just briefly. I want to talk about some of the ideas that I think are actually progressive, and they're not all super original ideas. I crib from everybody. Some of the things that we need to do. Obviously, Medicare for all, whatever you want to call it. Healthcare should be free at point of use. Raise my taxes. I don't care. Give people healthcare. We pay more and get worse outcomes than, basically any other country that's economically and technologically on par with us in the world. If we cut some of our hugely overbloated defense budget and spent some of that money on healthcare instead, fix it. Easy. No one should be allowed to own more than one home, unless, I don't know, there could be a waiver process where if you legitimately need more than one home for whatever reason, maybe, but it has to be a primary residence. No one should be able to own a home as an investment and outside of their own, personal primary home, their primary residence. No one should be able to hoard housing. Corporations should not be able to buy houses at all. Anything that's zoned residential should be completely off limits to anyone that is not a home buyer looking to live in a residence. And those simple changes would dramatically change the landscape of housing in this country. Um, the government can use eminent domain to buy the excess properties that are owned by landlords and corporations, offer them whatever a fair market rate is, buy them out, take those homes. The upkeep, the maintenance of those homes, and the any renovations they require or things like that can be a huge public works project. We could create millions and millions of jobs doing things like that, even if it's just things like lawn care, and we can pay people to do that. That would dramatically change the whole issue that we have now. It would positively impact the economy. It would put people in houses rather than having slumlords pay to keep their homes empty to artificially drive up rents and things. That's, that's day one. That's day one shit. So, Medicare for all, no one can own more than one house. Police reform is a whole video that I need to do. I've been thinking about it for a long time because police reform is a whole very complicated process. A lot of things go into it. And there's a difference between what I think could reasonably be achieved in this country if we tried and what I would like to see happen. Those are different things. Obviously, abolish the police completely. If you look at statistics, the good they do in this country versus the bad they do and the nothing they do and the drain on resources they are, all police should be abolished. There may need to be some kind of a system of law enforcement. I don't know. I don't have all the answers to that. What we're currently doing obviously isn't working and needs to change. And we need to not only talk about that in the wake of a person of color being shot to death. So, massive police reforms are needed. Environmental reforms, obviously. The Green New Deal, it just needs to happen. It needs to happen. We need to be investing massively in alternative fuels and doing a New Deal type public works system program to make that happen. Put people to work building the grid of the future, building our infrastructure for tomorrow rather than, poorly maintaining what's not even working today. I think as far as education, it's controversial, I know, but I think homeschooling uh, should not be allowed. Maybe if I don't say it should be illegal, I won't get in so much trouble. Um, Homeschooling is bad. It's a bad thing. You may love your kid a lot. You may have the money that one person can work and one person can stay home to educate the children, but you more than likely are not qualified to actually properly educate your kid. Every kid should be in school. Every kid should have that opportunity to learn. And while we are at it, we should end the system that we have now where property taxes pay for schools. Every school should get a set amount of federal funding based on number of students or, some criteria. Every school should be adequately funded, regardless of geographical location or population. Every school should be funded. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's immoral that we do not fund schools properly in this country. It ultimately just harms us in the future. An educated population is only going to be good for our future, for our GDP, for our workforce. We are so far behind in education on the world stage. It's incomparable how bad we are in education. And a lot of it comes from funding. All teachers should be federal employees. They should be paid a federal wage. Every teacher should have an opportunity to earn a living wage. Everyone should be unionized. If we are not going to actually sees the means of production in this country as we should, then every worker should have the right to unionize if they so choose in order to earn living wages. No corporation should be allowed to operate across state lines. And what I mean by that is there should be no national brands. McDonald's, a McDonald's in Wisconsin should not be owned by McDonald's corporate based in Delaware and also own the same subsidiaries or the same franchisees in Michigan. You should not be able to run a company that spans the entire country. It is a very easy way to break up some of those monopolies. If companies have to divest their assets dispersed over the whole country, it should not be this company owns this company and this is a subsidiary of this. Like, no. You can own however much of this, you can own this, but you cannot own both and then through a shell company own another thing. Not legal. Should not be allowed. Um, Antitrust needs to come back in a big, big way. Amazon should be destroyed. Walmart should be destroyed. Google should be broken up. So many of these massive corporations just should not exist. It is not. It does not serve our interest. It does not serve our economy for these corporations to exist in the form that they do. So that would be my. Those are just the very basics. There's so much that we could do to make this country better if we could get money out of politics. And that's the bottom line is every every candidate that manages to get however many signatures to qualify to be on a primary ballot should have access to um, a set amount of federal funding for campaigning. That money and only that money should be used for campaigning. There should be no donations of any kind anywhere for anyone. There should be no political donations. We have we've proved that it can't be done responsibly. We blatantly allow super PACs to control our elections and our politicians once they are elected. We obviously cannot be trusted to operate on a system of that allows political donations. So get money out of politics. You know, um, uh, these are simple things that if we were willing to do, we could make a big difference. We could change everything, and things would get better. We could make things better if we were just willing to. Anyway, that's it. I was watching the debate and I just watched opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to be like really actually progressive pass right by Tim Walz, and he did not seize any of them. And you know, that's the campaign. That's the game that they have to play, but it doesn't have to be that way. We can make it better. So, organize, find like-minded people, get yourself elected to local offices. Let's actually spur change here in this country. The Democrat Party is not coming to save you. That's all. I will be back with more. I will do another. I'll actually write a script and go through some of my policy positions um, at some point. Maybe in a week or two. Um, I've thought a lot about the things that I would do as president. I have uh, I have lofty ambitions for what I would do in elected office. I don't think that that is my path, but I have plans if, if something crazy happened. Um, so keep an eye out for that. I want to do a whole video about police reform because it deserves its own video, and I have a lot of thoughts about police. Um, but I will let you go because we're almost at 25 minutes, and that's good enough for today. Take it easy, but take it.